Yesterday we talked about mental health, and yeah, it was kind of a sad day. But Paul and I have been chatting. This is we noticed a lot of comments online. There's some very, very powerful ones as well. So we're going to continue with this chat today. And Vaughan, you've done some research, I believe.
Yeah, well, in terms of research, I mean, one of the difficulties is with small business, there's not a lot of it. But, the mental health and the well-being of the small business community has very much become front and centre as a topic of discussion. And I guess, in the most simple terms, the definition of of mental health, that capacity to think, feel, and act in ways that enhance our ability to enjoy life and deal with challenges when they come up. That all sounds sort of lovely and unicornish, but so difficult to achieve, particularly for a small business owner. So I think that, one of the difficulties we've got here is how does it all unravel and go wrong? And yesterday I closed off in our video, don't let the health of your struggling small business be a mirror image of your own health. And I guess that under a level 3 or 4 lockdown, even the very best of entrepreneurs wouldn't make most businesses out there viable. So the trick is to know what it means to lose a battle but win a war, because that's where we're at the moment. Don't let the whole thing take you down, but understand that it could be a backward step to take 2 forward out of this. So how do we turn this train smash of a pandemic into a life-defining experience?
Well, that's a good point. And of course, the other factor is, it is life-changing because we've never been faced with this before in our time, and probably 3 generations is 2 generations. Yeah. Probably to have epidemics like this. So it's not as if it's brand new to our society. It is brand new to our society in terms of the last 2 generations. So we need to be, chipper. So what's the solution to this one? Because our society needs to be more resilient to this. There's going to be more hardship. And small business people, we're mentoring them right now. What advice are you giving them?
Yeah, well, I think that, one of the things, and you touched on it, for small business owners, high levels of stress, anxiety, and depression are actually quite normal in terms of business ownership. It takes a lot of bloody courage to go to the bank and say, here's my house, I'm going to go off and, try and be the ultimate small business owner. Then along comes a pandemic and everything manifests, and ultimately all of that comes together, the anxiety, the depression, the stress, to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, because you're watching things go down the toilet. So I guess that it's a fact, Max, that in small business issues globally, and this is where my research is telling me it's the same. So of the 400 million small businesses on this planet, I look at the American market, and a really good site to go to is SPA, Small Business Association America. They have a lot of research and data there, and they did a really good piece of research across their 32 million small businesses. 42% are saying since the pandemic came along, their mental health has deteriorated. So they're actually going, I'm not coping like I was. That's real. So we're seeing similar numbers here.
Do you think that's it's a factor in our society? I mean, in my past, when I was growing up, it was always said, oh, the poor guy down the road, he's come back from the war and he's suffering. He really is suffering mentally. And of course, now we're hearing more and more. It's very, I hate to say this, almost vogue to have a mental illness, and it's acceptable in society. And if you've got a mental illness, you get privileges for that, and you get leeways. You're let off for a whole lot of problems. Sorry,
we're seeing things. You're dead right, Max. In terms of the PTSD of living through a pandemic, owning a small business and coming out the other side and going, geez, that's traumatic, and how do I deal with that? I mean, it is very, very normal, even without a pandemic, that when businesses look like they're not viable, small business owners and entrepreneurs isolate themselves. They'll kind of do the whole denial, and they don't want to face it, and they become difficult to be in relationships with, but difficult to be friends with. And I guess that, because most small business owners can't afford comprehensive health insurance that it would include mental health support, it leaves most of them not only flying by the seat of their pants, but actually running their business on autopilot, as they kind of possums in the headlight. That's what I'm seeing out there, Max.
Yeah, I think it is. Vaughan, final words?
Oh, look, I think the final words here are we have to stay on this topic. We have to keep talking about it, because whilst a lot of what we talk about is just empirical evidence, what I mean is observation, there's no hard or meaningful research in and around small business. So for that reason, we don't want to be leaving the destiny of mental health and well-being in small business up to part-time advocates or show ponies. We actually want some gravitas so that the safety nets we create for the small business community coming out of this are safety nets that we trust. They come from a place of authenticity, and we've got to stay on that, because when you're possum in the headlights, a lot of that stuff can go right past you.
Quite right, quite right. And we do need some solutions to this. We do need some build-up, some resilience if you're in a small business. Look, it's not an easy ride in a small business, admittedly, and so you need to prepare yourself for that. And that's where I think that would help us a lot in our society.
Yeah.
So
No, Max, I'd like to chip one more thing in before we bugger off. Is anyone out there who's a small business owner, Google a book called A Practical Way to Get Rich and Die Trying by a guy called John Rower. And it's a really honest opening of the kimono about being an entrepreneur and all of a sudden going down a rabbit hole and basically thinking that you're the only person that's been here before, when actually tens of thousands of entrepreneurs have run the same path. It's on SoundCloud, it's audio. Fantastic listen that's so appropriate for right now. Yes, anyone out there,
small business owners have been down that rabbit hole. So yeah, it is huge.
Yeah, but it's our rabbit hole, right?
Yeah, you're not alone. Awesome. All right, we'll see you tomorrow, Ben Vaughan.
Thanks, Max. Catch you, bro. Look forward to it.
All right, mate.